IVM.
Some time ago, 5 successful restaurateurs came together to form the Colaba Cartel. The founders of the table, Gauri Devi Dayal and J. Yusuf, partnered with the founders of Woodside Inn, Abhishek Honawar, Pankil Shah and Sumit Gambhir to open a new restaurant in Colaba. If you've ever dreamed of opening a restaurant or love eating out, you want to listen in. The Colaba Cartel. This exclusive 10-part series is hosted by Gauri Devi Dayal and Amit Doshi.
Hey, so welcome to what is unfortunately, or at least for the time being, going to be the last episode of Colaba Cartel. Gauri, what do you think we're going to talk to everybody about today?
I don't know, but I think this is going to be the debrief of how it all actually worked out. Or didn't.
Well, mostly did, right? I mean, I think that the general response has been quite positive to the restaurant. And I mean, we loved it when we came over there for sure. So I am sure that it is just mostly going to be all nice things to say.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
We'll hear from the others.
Okay. All right, cool. So let's get on with it. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the episode where we're going to talk about after launch. So, you know what? I want to ask everybody this question first. How do you think people responded to Misty since it's open, right? What's your sense of the reaction? So, Gauri, do you want to start with that?
I think overall it's been positive. We've obviously been through a few teething issues, and that is inevitable when you open a restaurant. But I can't complain. I think I'm really pleased with the overall reaction from our diners.
All right. Jen, do you have anything to add?
I think it's good, but the only problem with, as 5 partners we are, we know what we want to get the best, what's the 100% is, and we know there is a problems, but we only know those problems. I mean, the guests will not know at all. But for us, it's a major issue because it's not 100%. So that's what we struggle. I struggle personally, whether it comes to food or the space, the dripping of water, the pots going off, things like that.
So basically you're saying you're your own worst critic.
Exactly. Because the reason is because we know what we like that space to be, or the food to be, or the service to be, and we are trying to get there.
Right.
And so that's what makes it very difficult for us to see if there is something wrong, if there's lighting is gone, or if there's food is a little off. But probably the guests will not even know the difference. But we have tried so many times a dish, and we know finally we said this is how the dish is going to be with our chefs, like Bawmra and Nikhil has worked, and we have said yes, this is good. This is we have achieved 100% on that, and maybe different night it might be an off within 90, 95, and that makes it very hard for us saying that okay, how come there's a slight difference in this dish? So, yeah.
But that's, I guess, a challenge of teething issues at the start, right?
Issues.
Pankil, what about you? What is your sense of the reaction that you have of people? What do they think of the restaurant so far?
So I think the reactions that I've been noticing when guests walk in and when guests taste something, I think the first reaction is usually, your immediate, it's the truth. As opposed to when you go out to a guest, some guests might say, well, it's great when they don't like it, or they might say, I hate it when it's just that they're having a bad day and they might not like that particular item on that day. I think the best way to judge is when you look at the face when they bite into something or take a sip of something. And so far it's been good. Yeah. I think we're all largely happy with the way it's turned out. The joint vision that we all had, I think people are recognizing that vision in the same way that we wanted them to recognize it. But yeah, as Jay said, there's still little niggles here and there, and we'll get there. We'll get there.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sumit, what's your sense? I mean, how do you think people have reacted to opening of Misty?
So I think people were very, very intrigued by these two teams coming together and working together and what they were going to be coming up with. And I think there were a lot of questions, that people had. That what sort of restaurant are you opening? Why Misty? What is the story behind it? And I think as soon as they get there, and then they spend an evening, say 45 minutes, or spend the 2 hours at the restaurant, they sort of understand what the reason why we got together and what we're trying to achieve here. How are people reacting to it? I think they're reacting very, very positively to what we're putting out there. Jay said, yes, we're going through struggles ourselves of envisioning something for the restaurant and the way things would turn out. And now we're in the sort of stage where we're trying to understand that, we've spent sleepless nights trying to see if, we're thinking of something that people will enjoy, the experiences or the food and the beverage or any other part of the restaurant that people will enjoy. And now we're actually seeing people reacting to what, we've been, thinking about for the last 6 months. And the reactions are very, very positive.
That's great.
Yeah.
Abhishek, what about you? What's your sense of the reactions?
I think there's a sense of celebration in there. There's a sense of celebration of 5 people coming together and 2 groups coming together that have been around for so long. That kind of translates into what everyone has said into an expression, and people are understanding that expression. So that's been very exciting for us to see that. I think that the team has done a commendable job. I mean, including the group that's sitting in this room and the entire team that's at the restaurant right now and sitting outside also. Everyone's really pitched in, they're 100%. So that kind of shows the true spirit of what is really happening. We are all perfectionists or trying to be perfectionists in our own way. We want to express ourselves in a way where the restaurant kind of has a certain feeling, and we're all working towards it. And there are ups and downs. And there are going to be ups and downs like 5 years from opening also. I think the true spirit is about bouncing back. The true spirit is about coming back and doing this every day. And that love for doing that every day is what is the celebration in our head. And hopefully this is what we strive hard to continue to build.
I want to add one more thing. About the designs of the space. So all of us, we were talking about every time when we had a meeting with Zubin and his team. Sexy is the word. Sexy. That word became so important to all of us. So Greg, who's the editor from the AD, he walked in and he screamed about the space and he said, sexy. And
nice.
We all said, oh, guys, we have achieved this.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, that's awesome because I wanted to ask that question to every one of you. That was the most memorable piece of feedback that you received. And that seems to be...
For me, that was it.
Yeah. That is...
And that day I said I can go home and sleep and be happy what we have achieved. Yeah.
But that's awesome. That's really cool because that means that what you wanted kind of played out, right?
Yes.
What about, I want to ask, I'm going to run around the room again. I want to ask everybody, what is now 2 weeks open and, what is the most kind of memorable piece of feedback that you've gotten from a customer or from a partner or from whatever it may be, right? Like something that really kind of was like, wow, okay. Pankaj, you want to start with that?
So I'll speak from a cocktail and bar perspective. Sure. I think, when people are walking in right now downstairs, their eye is immediately drawn to the bar. And, that's the first step towards attracting them to the cocktail experience that we're trying to provide. And I'm seeing people react over and over again to that space. And to me, more so the cocktails. Right. We are trying to push boundaries here. And some of the cocktails are a little trying to push it a little too hard. Especially one cocktail called Nabob, which is with fish sauce and caramelized onion cordial. But people are taking, quite a liking to these kind of cocktails.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm seeing that the space is creating a comfort zone for people to experiment, to push the boundaries a little more.
I think I need to come again. I don't think that was on the menu when I came last.
We'll give that to you.
I'll make sure that I'm there again.
Sounds good.
Sumit, what about you? What's like, this thing that somebody told you and you're like, wow, okay, this is it. We've got something here. Has there been like a incident or a event of that nature?
I wouldn't say there's a specific moment as such that I feel, I would say that was the moment that I felt that, oh, okay, we're working on something great. I think overall the love's been so, there's been such, every person who walks in has, walked in with such high expectations. And I think, yes, in spite of, these little issues that, we do face, I think it's the start of a great journey and that's the exciting part for me,
right.
And I think a lot of people understand what we're trying to do and what we're trying to sort of, the sort of experience that we're trying to, provide to Colaba or this part of the city where, there was an experience that people were missing on. And I think people have recognized that. And for me, I think that's the most important.
Right. Abhishek, what about you? Anything stands out in that sense from a reaction perspective?
I think we're so in the weeds, at least for me. We're so in the weeds, and it's hard to kind of see, different things. There are lots of things happening every day. There are different people reacting in different ways. I think Sumit kind of touched upon that point, that majority of the people are coming in with that supremely high expectation, but leaving with a very satisfied and an experience that they came in expecting and they received that.
Right.
And that feeling is very good. And I think hearing it from each one of people in this group, when I hear something from them that they feel that they're celebrating about, maybe what Jay said about Greg's expression, or what Pankaj said about the cocktail expression, I think that kind of gives you a little bit of joy to enjoy small victories.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, not so small also, right? I mean, like, you like the feedback, right? Everybody likes positive reinforcement.
You obviously want to hear positive, good things.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you need, it's not the day, right?
Right.
Like, it's the journey just began.
Yeah,
like
sure.
we're in this for hopefully
no, but
for
life.
Like,
something kind of like, I get what you're saying. Gauri, what about you? I mean, like, have you had anything which was just like, wow, this was
So there are a couple of things which, so one of the things is that I've kind of been handling the phones for the last couple of weeks, which is great fun, most of the time. But I think one of the most sort of, and obviously because we've just opened and there are a lot of friends and people that we know who are coming, and, they're all like giving us a pat on the back and saying, great stuff and congratulations and all of that. But I think the real endorsement came from, the fact when we've been open 2 weeks and people have booked for a third time, that for me is a pretty, they're dropping their money here.
Yeah.
They're not just saying that, and that's like, for me, the real test. And the other thing, I'm going to say two things.
Okay.
Because, I'm sort of taking care of, helping out with the PR and marketing aspect of it. Obviously when you first open a restaurant, a bunch of sort of reviews come out. And a lot of reviews sort of try to be balanced in their opinion so that, it doesn't sound like it's,
Biased
or, that,
Objective.
because obviously we've been around in the
Right.
industry for a while. We sort of know a lot of people. And I'm so proud of the team that in these few sort of pretty important reviews that have come out, it's been, I would say, unanimously positive, and there's no need for anyone to be that kind to us. But it's obviously because there's something that's appealed to them.
Right.
And, it's been a while since we opened our last restaurant. So there's a higher sort of pressure on us, with this being restaurant number 2 for at least Jay and me. And that for me that's really important. And it's been a huge sort of pat on the back.
So we actually spoke to a number of people on your team, and we're just going to play some of the reactions and feedback they've received from Miss T.
We get a lot of people who've traveled, and especially Vietnam. And there was one lady who came in who had traveled Vietnam for like almost a month, all the parts of Vietnam, from Ho Chi Minh City to Hoi An, to all the parts, and she had tried the pho everywhere.
Okay.
And when she tried the pho at Miss T, she was like, how did you get that? Like, how authentic? How did you get so close to the authentic one?
People seem to really like it. I spoke a little bit about lighting. I love the way that our lighting kind of draws you into the space. Just the way the bar setup is, you can see it all the way from the street. It just kind of draws you right into there. And then as they go upstairs for dining or out in the main part, they seem to enjoy it, and they have a couple of different levels of things that they can do.
To be honest, there's been a lot of interesting and pretty positive reactions in that sense. A lot of people have spoken about the identity. A few of them have spoken about, we've done this interesting wave-like form. So like a few people have spoken about that as well. But overall, more importantly, people have spoken about how it's all come together quite nicely in the restaurant, So that's like the nicest thing to sort of hear, because that's what you work towards. Everything, not just small elements, but everything coming together as one in the place.
It's my first hospitality stint, right? I never had a sense of how things will go. This is very, very new for me. But I remember in the weeks leading to the launch of the restaurant, we used to do a lot of tastings and trials and, friends and family getting feedback. And it used to always be great. And that used to, of course, make me happy. And I'd be like, yeah, but somewhere in the back of my head was always that, but we'll really know. Proof of the pudding is in when paying customers come in, really, right? And in the first week of the launch, it's been a couple of weeks now, but so far I've been on the floor almost pretty much every night talking to people. It's been so great and so gratifying when paying customers, everyone has great feedback to give. People love the food, people are loving the drinks, people are loving the vibe. They're appreciating the little things we've done. For example, even the detailing, like the lighting, the music, things that we put a lot of detail into is being noticed and appreciated. So that's great.
So that was Nikhil, Jeremy, Dallas, and Snehal from the Misty team. Now I have a question that's for all of you. Since opening Misty, how has life changed?
What life?
Is that the answer? I guess that there is no life. But anybody want to?
I'll just speak from what I've noticed. More than, of course, everybody's getting busier and days are filling up a lot faster. I think one thing I've noticed is that people's perception, at least from our point of view, from a Woodside Inn point of view, which has been in Colaba, a lot of the guests who are coming in are of course, Woodside Inn guests and table guests. And, they're noticing us in a whole new way. Mm-hmm. And I think that perspective change has been interesting to observe for me.
Right.
I have something to add.
Yes.
Because it's husband and wife, between you and Gauri, I have lost a wife. I don't see my wife, and I have to go to Miss T to even meet her.
That's her home now, Jay.
Yeah, that has become my home. So our little one has totally forgotten. That's been the life.
Yeah, that is that's definitely a challenge, and that's definitely a change, I guess. Yeah, true. So what are the major challenges that you faced since you started, right? I mean, we've heard of, one of the favorite ones that I've heard of so far is the voicemail message. Anybody want to?
So I get a frantic call from my friend this morning, and which I couldn't answer, and she WhatsApps me saying, listen, you need to check your Miss T voicemail. It's hilarious. And then she types out what it was, and what it was basically the gentleman who was trying to install it saying, Hello, this is voicemail check. Hello. And this is what guests are listening to.
That is, I guess those are the teething issues that you have in a restaurant when you first start. But anything else that's come up that you think that
How long do we have?
As long as you need.
No, I think just to add one point to how life has changed, I think a launch of something that is passionately and emotionally built takes a lot away from people. And I think in this industry, largely the people that pay the biggest price are the loved ones.
Okay.
And in this scenario, we have a very unique situation here, where we have husband and wife both in the mix.
Right.
But the rest of our wives, are come to see us there.
Yeah.
And there have been points I've been told, like, I don't want to hear about the restaurant. I just don't want to hear about it. Like, don't talk to me about it. Like, I really don't care, like, what you're doing there. It's a restaurant, right? You're serving food. Just do whatever you want. But don't bring this home,
Interesting.
So I think it is I think that taking a moment off from your day-to-day stuff, which you're doing, which you're so immersed in, and trying to celebrate them also for their participation, which they're actually participating indirectly.
Right.
And
it
supporting
affects
you.
them as well, right? I mean, like, if
That's
you're spending as much time as you are, then it is definitely something that affects everybody.
Yeah. So anybody building something passionately and with a lot of emotion suffers through this. Yeah. And I think finding that balance is something that we all look forward to.
Yeah, I get that. So now, how do you think So you had a concept, right? You had a thought in terms of what this restaurant is going to be. How much has that translated into reality, right? I mean, like, there is a thought and a plan, and then there is what actually gets done, right? So, I mean, like, how far would you say that you've gotten to what you want to do?
I must be honest, this is our, seventh, eighth restaurant I think we built.
Okay.
And career-wide, maybe we are also older and wiser now, that we see through things better. But this restaurant, for me personally, has been on point.
Yeah.
It's been on point. This is an all-star team.
Right.
I'm getting goosebumps talking about this. It's been so special because everyone got into this project so immersed and playing such a specific role and built such amazing people around them that is a true reflection of what is happening today. And the journey has been exceptional. I couldn't have asked for anything more.
Interesting. Okay. That's actually a really great answer, right? I mean, like, in the sense of, because it is something that I think that a lot of people do struggle with, right? I mean, like, you have plans in terms of what you want to do, and then when you actually start putting those plans into execution, there are things that you're like, not practical, let it fall by the wayside, those kinds of things do that.
But I think once, I'm excited to say this again, is I think everyone is, one thing that I really admire and appreciate everyone for is that they've listened,
Right.
Especially, like people like Jay, Pankaj, they've given their ear to so many thoughts, and even Sumit for that matter. I've given their ear to so many thoughts, and I've patiently kind of heard things out, and I feel like those are gifts that good people, when they come together to work, bring to the table. And I think it's been fairly exciting. Yeah. Fairly exciting to have that support.
That's awesome. So before we take a break, I want to ask you guys, the three of you have been working together for a while, and the two of you have been working together for a while as well. It's not just neighborhood hospitality or food matters, it's neighborhood matters now, right? How has that transition been like? First it was the planning phase, but now you're actually doing the work. How is that translated?
I think what I've felt in the journey is it's so easy.
Yeah.
Every project should be done like this because the more is the merrier. Everyone take responsibility of different areas in a restaurant, and especially for the restaurant, there's so many elements that has to be brought together. And I feel like even in the future, I have lost confidence of opening my own. Mm-hmm. So because it has become such a amazing way of opening this restaurant.
Right.
So, I mean, that's how it should be done. I think so.
Yeah, you think the collaborative process
was the most interesting and successful way of implementing it.
I think it's important, obviously having more hands on deck is made things infinitely easier, faster, all of that. But I think more important than that, it's the chemistry, which, it's not just about having an extra pair of hands to help with things. It's the fact that we all gel so well and think alike, but not think alike in the sense that we all have different points of view and we debate a lot of things. But it's just, I'm truly amazed at how quickly, I keep saying this, but how quickly we've turned this around and actually pulled off what we all set out to do. And it's because, and we're still all sitting here together, haven't killed anyone yet. Yeah. So, the cartel lives.
Sumit, any thoughts on this?
So, it's something that, we did discuss, of course, internally we discussed as well, because internally when I say that, I mean, because with neighborhood as well, we've been working together for 11 years, neighborhood hospitality. And, we've had our, differences, we've had discussions, we've had debates, no fights, but, we've had quite a, varied sort of point of views. So getting two more, partners on and, we obviously, had an understanding of it would get, we thought it might get slightly tougher. Maybe, we felt to an extent. But I think it did, I do feel that I think there's so much trust in terms of the long-term vision or the goal that we had and the sort of people who were working together on this and giving their 100%. That I think the trust factor, was so important. And, at every point with every sort of, every part of the journey, we felt 100% trust. And I think that for me has, been a good learn. That has been a part of the learning for this project, that I've had as well.
Do you want me to share you one more personal
Please do.
challenge? Okay, I'm a father. I have two kids, two daughters. Three daughters, but the challenge which I'm facing is two daughters.
With the
The challenge with the team I'm facing is two ones. Yeah.
Okay.
So one is 13, one is 18. Okay. So as a group,
she's 19.
Okay, one is 19 and one is 13. As a group, we decided that is going to be 21 and above. The space will be 21 and above. Okay, so I have to accept it because I'm one of 5 So majority wins. Democratic vote has taken the power. So now tell me, how do I share this information with my 13-year-old and 18-year-old? And still today, I'm struggling with this. That's the challenge.
He's in the dogs.
In the dogs. And one has stopped talking to me. So one day I get a message from her saying, Dad, it's you. You're the owner. I said, no, Alia, it's not me. There are 5 of us. So I have to keep on reminding her.
We will make it up to Alia at lunch. And we open for lunch, she'll,
that's the biggest challenge.
We make it look like she'll be the guest of honor.
Everything seems to be so easy.
When we launch our kick-ass brunch program,
we'll get them on.
Awesome. Great. That's interesting. So, actually, we spoke to, again, a number of your team members, and they gave us some thoughts on what it was like working for 5 of you at the same time. So we'll play that, we'll go into the break, and then we'll come back on the other side.
If like-minded people have the right mentality and, everyone wants, the goal is set, everyone wants the same thing. And that thing is to be number one, not in Bombay, in India. And we are working towards that goal, and we have 5 like-minded people working towards it. They have supported us in everything until now. From me and my team going to Goa to train with Bawmra at his restaurant, which is like very rare. Not a lot of chefs have entered in his kitchen. And from there, and from going to Vietnam to train with a famous chef over there in his restaurant. They have invested a lot in us. And yes, when I came back and when I started doing the trials, I went through a lot of stress, I must admit this. But I knew that after doing the dishes 25-30 times, at least what is on the menu today and what we are serving is not 100%, 110%. So we know that, people are going to like it and people are going to come back, and that is what is happening, because you don't find these flavors so easily. There are Asian restaurants in Bombay, but no one is getting as authentic or as close to it like we do, because we've actually invested time in going to Vietnam or going to Bawmra's and training in Burmese cuisine and Vietnamese cuisine.
Right.
So that is our strongest plus point. And yes, I've learned a lot from them. In the last 5 months. I've grown as a chef.
Well, it was fun. It was a good experience. All the different opinions put in together. So it was fun.
So I have worked with 3 before. So working with 5 is a bit, I would say just an addition of 2 extra more heads who are coming with a lot of experience, but they all have distributed themselves in a way that you don't really get confused. So you have an answer, and you have a question, and you know where to go to, and who's going to answer your question. So I think it's fun.
Before I joined, I thought it's going to be a little bit let's be honest. I really thought it's going to be really difficult and might be a nightmare, because in my field, I used to be in advertising and marketing. Just double reporting was the thing we hated the most. It's amazing though that all 5 of these guys are so in sync with each other that I have never ever had that issue where I have looked at it as thinking, oh, I have so many bosses. It's just been that what a great team to work with. It has never entered my mind that, oh, I'm working for 5 people. It's just that we're a team.
I wasn't too sure about how this whole thing is going to work out in terms of working with 5 partners. I have worked with 3 of them in the past, and 3 is a pretty big number as well. So when we went, and this was supposed to be 5 partners and 5 minds, and 5 points of views and things like that. But it just shows that even if there are multiple partners, eventually if everyone's focused towards the same kind of goal, it is possible to do do work that's amazing.
So that was Chef Nikhil, Chef Bawmra, Melwin, Snehal, and Dallas from the Miss Tea team. We'll be right back after this break.
Long, long ago, not in Bethlehem, but in a place nearby, there was a wonderful birth of a huge show, which I like to call Cyrus Says. A show that encapsulates everything in human history, from the first Homo sapien to the last Homo sapien, who's traversed the entire world and then come back to India. This is a show which tells you everything about everything. If you want to know, avoid Google, come to us. It's called Cyrus Says. Get new episodes every Monday and Thursday on the IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts from. It's simple as A, B. Oh God, what comes after that?
So welcome back, everybody. All right. So you know what? Before I ask some more specific questions about the Misty restaurant itself, I kind of want to ask the four of you, not Gauri, everybody else. What was your reaction when Gauri came to you with the idea of doing a podcast?
I mean, I was like, are you serious? We have a restaurant to open. Why are we trying to record stuff right now?
That sounds about right to me as a reaction. But did any of you listen to podcasts before this? Was this something that you had ever done? Or
No, personally, I've heard a bunch of podcasts. I wouldn't say I'm an avid listener yet, but now I'm totally into it. I think the idea was special because you were able to tell a story as the journey was going along.
Right.
You know, so this is actually like therapy for us. You know, coming here and talking into a mic, hearing yourself so clearly, hearing the others so clearly. So it's a good thing, and I'm so happy we did it. You know, I mean, I've said thanks to her like many times, and this is a fantastic idea.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad that this is happening too. I mean, like it's worked out really well in terms of like we've got a great number of listeners, and hopefully more and more as we go along. Yeah. All right. So we're going to play a quick couple of clips right now, which where we're speaking to the people who are involved in creating the podcast. So just people get an idea of what's going on behind that.
So, I mean, we have so many shows on the network. I'm a big fan of food. I've been wanting to do a food podcast forever, but food is such a visual element, right? I mean, it's got this big visual. If you haven't plated, have you even eaten it is what people think of food, right, today. And while I was actually talking to her, so it took me maybe like a month to get in touch with Gauri to just put her on Cyrus's show. My motivation of getting in touch with Gauri was just that there's probably only one person who's running this gigantic experimental kitchen in Bombay. Also, I'm a big fan of Mac Street Co. And I was like, I need to bring like this lady who is probably putting out some of the best croissants in this city. And that's how I actually got in touch with her. And she came in well on time. And, we were sitting and I was just kind of giving her an idea about, what the network was and this, and spoke a little bit about Mac Street Co. And then I kind of just was like, hey, you know what? We've been toying with this idea of putting out a food show, but we don't know how to do this because visual element, audio, how do we get this going? And at that point in time, I kind of said, as a business person, I've always been interested in like the business of restaurants or business of food. And at that point in time, while she was talking to me about all the other amazing things that she's doing, she kind of let out this little secret about how she was going to be collaborating with some other biggies in the restaurant business and how they're kind of going to put out this new restaurant and how it was going to be unique to like the city culture at the same time, well nestled in terms of, the fact that, they're predominantly running most of the restaurants in Colaba, and how this was going, that was like her new challenging thing that she was working with. And I thought to myself that, hey, this was probably a good way to document, the making of a restaurant in a city like Bombay.
I was actually quite excited because I knew this is about food. And yeah, I mean, I looked forward to how this would exactly pan out. And yeah.
So what do you think? How has it been? What are your thoughts on the way that, do you feel like you got something out of it?
Oh, definitely. Like, I've sat on every recording, so I didn't know the kind of effort that goes into making a restaurant. So like when I go and eat anywhere, like when the food is on the table, you're not really thinking about what's gone into just preparing that dish or building that place up. But now every time I visit a restaurant, I'm like, I keep thinking about what the story might be behind it.
That was Kavita and Janam from the IVM podcast team. So, Gauri, what's the one thing that you would say that everyone who visits Misty really appreciates?
A new restaurant in town.
Okay. All right, what's the most frequent compliment you receive?
Obviously, like Pankaj said, when people walk in, they see this beautiful bar ahead. Mm-hmm. I'm always at the door, so I always tell people to look up. And I think, so, when people walk in, they haven't yet eaten or drunk anything, so their first reaction is always to the space. So kudos to Zubin and Kripa, because they've done a fantastic job. So I think that's definitely the first reaction that counts.
Okay. All right, cool. Jay, Abhishek, what do you say this? I'm asking you guys this because Nikhil mentioned that you were both very heavily involved in creating the menu itself. What are the favorite dishes that you think that have worked so far the best at the restaurant that people have really kind of like, you've had multiple repeat reservations, right, as Gauri was mentioning. So I'm guessing those people come and order some of the same stuff, maybe not all of it.
I think I had mentioned to you earlier also, the menu was we took a long time to design it or to create it. We have taken the best dishes from Bawmra's menu and then the Vietnamese element to it. All our chefs have put their, I feel like it's a unique menu in Bombay today. I don't think there's any other restaurant who has done the similar combination of Vietnam, Burma, the Golden Triangle. And I think we have achieved that. But for me, personally, I know we have tasted all the dishes from the menu and many more, which will be following very soon. And we have done justice to every dish. Just as I was explaining to you earlier, every evening at the end of the shift, we all sit together and order the food from the kitchen. And Abhishek knows, I know, or we all of us know how the dish should be tasting the best. Sometimes the dishes are there and sometimes they lack something. So, as I said, the guest will never know how the dish should be. They're enjoying it. So, but I think overall, every dish has come out very wonderful. And one common dish everyone is ordering and going gaga about it that's red snapper roll. That has been the best seller.
Interesting.
And Nikhil, what he has done with the sauce has been the A1 sauce.
Okay. I think you should consider bottling it.
Bottling the sauce. And that has been my experience. And as I said, there'll be a lot more and many more to come.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, do you have you're ordering food from there every night?
We are eating when you're there, we are eating.
What's your go-to dish? What is your personal go-to dish?
When I'm there, usually all of us are talking to the guests. And whenever the guest says something about the dish, those are the dishes we are ordering to make sure that what the guest has, the guest's comment,
right.
Are they right?
Okay.
As this dish lacking something, or if the dish is awesome, we want to try that dish also to make sure that what the guests are talking about.
Okay,
so our focus has been all the response to the guests.
Okay, so Jay is not going to answer my question.
Yeah.
He wants to keep it unanswered. Abhishek, do you want to answer that question?
Yeah.
What is your favorite dish of all the things that are on the menu right now? Well, you got to have something that this is what I want, my go-to.
Yeah. So first of all, I second everything Jay said.
Okay.
Right? There's a lot of love for everything that's coming out of the kitchen, and Nikhil is doing a tremendous job. And Melvin also, front of the house. Coming back, being specific to the dishes, I think the red snapper rolls is obviously something that's a crowd favorite. The tomato salads, the salads are epic. My personal favorite is the vermicelli with the crab. I really enjoy that. The tamarind pork is bomb.
Yeah,
it's delicious.
That's been my favorite.
I second it too.
Yeah. Tamarind pork's been my favorite thing so far.
The vermicelli, the crab. That's
rare beef with soba noodles.
That's great.
That's also great.
Amazing.
And I think the coconut rice is on fire.
Yeah,
on fire.
All right. Okay.
The morning glory.
So now you got everyone talking.
Ask Uncle the pho.
I didn't say it because we're now taking it off the menu for everyone. But we'll be back for lunch.
Coming back for lunch.
No, we have not had one meal or dinner sitting with Pankaj not ordering a pho.
It doesn't matter what time of day or night it is. I need a pho.
Yeah.
Pho, by the way,
soupy noodly goodness is
a liter
amazing.
full of that.
and pretty much yesterday we sat all of us and said we are going to take away the pho from the menu.
Yeah, Pankaj is to go on a diet.
But we couldn't make that call.
Because Pankaj said I need it until Thursday. I need to eat it before.
Yeah. So we left it on. So the pho is there, guys. Come and enjoy as much as Pankaj
It is
enjoying.
as authentic as you can get anywhere in India. Trust me.
Awesome. Okay, Pankaj, what about drinks? What's been your standout cocktail that's kind of really worked the best so far?
I know.
We know. So sorry, Pankaj. I have to say this.
Go ahead.
there's a cocktail that Pankaj is talking about, which I'm going to let
Yeah.
Pankaj talk about. We've actually told the team to double up the quantity. Jeremy last night was working on this till 2:30 in the morning. He's like doubling up the quantity because Pankaj is going to consume half.
So I'm very excited about this cocktail that we're going to be introducing in time to come. The reason is I say in time to come, it's because it's a barrel Kentucky oak aged Negroni with Chinese Lapsang Souchong tea. So what that is the Lapsang Souchong tea is a beautiful smoky tea which we're using in the Negroni, and then we're aging it to round it off a little bit, to mellow down the tea flavor a little bit. And what that's going to leave you is with a beautiful, very slightly smoky flavor on your palate with the Negroni, which is bitter, which is sweet. So beautiful balance of all the flavors, and the aging just sort of brings everything together.
Nice.
So I'm very excited. My mouth is watering.
I can tell. I mean, just listening to you, I can tell. And I can definitely recommend your ability to pick a drink for people. So, I mean, like, that is definitely there. All right. Awesome. So what's next for Misty? What's going to happen? Are we going to introduce any new... I mean, you're going to start for lunch soon?
We're going to start lunch soon. We're going to start brunch.
Okay.
And we are working on it. The dishes, especially... We're trying to see what will be a special brunch. I mean, usually when you call brunch, it's eggs, right? Eggs and pancakes. And so what is for Asian, the golden triangle? So we are doing some research on that.
Okay.
And our chef is going to travel a little bit to, say, San Francisco very soon.
Okay.
And hopefully he'll come back with
Nikhil just got to hear this right
he already knows.
He knows that
he knows that I'm working on it. So things like that. I mean, the lunch menu is going to be pho to start with. Banh mi and banh mi.
That's going to be my daily driver. Banh mi and pho.
We are working some unique dishes to come on lunch menu and brunch menu.
Okay, right. How has the bar been overnight? Right? I mean, like, overall, in the sense, like, what is the balance between night spot and restaurant that you have achieved at this point in time? I mean, like, where would you say that is?
I mean, at this point, because a lot of people are hearing about us, have also understood that, you know, a lot of people have been just coming through reservations. There have been walk-ins and people have walked in. But, you know, what we are doing at this point is that, you know, we're opening in a way where we don't want to overwhelm the system. You know, we want to make sure that everyone who comes in has a great experience in terms of food and beverage. And that's the reason, you know, we've taken on a limited number of reservations at this point. It might, you know, seem to a lot of people that, you know, we are intentionally trying to seem like we're packed all the time, but we genuinely are at this point. And so what has also happened is, like, specifically at this point, I feel a lot of people who've been coming in are looking at this more from a dining and, you know, a dining perspective. But in time to come, you know, we do have solid plans of trying to sort of push the bar scene.
Right.
You know, we feel a lot more people will be coming and just hanging at the bar, and that's going to happen a lot as well. And people who have done that, you know, on the weekends that we noticed, have had a special time.
Right.
You know, we had someone who came in, you know, at 7 o'clock and left at 1 o'clock on the last Saturday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, you know, we have created a certain level of comfort, and we're working towards improving that experience.
Any final thoughts, guys, on how it's been, what the journey has been like? I think I should get final thoughts from everybody as such. So, Jay, final thoughts?
All good. Very interesting. Love it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome. Gauri, final thoughts?
I second that.
You second that?
Minus the little diss I got about like my
Pankaj, what are your thoughts? I mean, the final thoughts on, like, the project and the putting the whole thing together.
I think it's been a unique experience and an amazing experience to learn from everybody. And I think it's allowed us all to express ourselves a lot more in everything we've done.
Yeah. Awesome. Sumit?
It's been special, you know, and every restaurant, you know, it has that sort of journey, and this is a unique journey, and the thing is everyone's enjoying it.
Awesome. And Abhishek?
We're ready for more.
There you go. That's a great final thought.
So, as co-host, Amit, I am going to ask the last question.
Please.
What has it been like for you
hosting? I've really, really enjoyed this. It's a subject that I like a lot. I mean, I'm really into the idea of, like, you know, hospitality and stuff like that. And you guys were a great bunch of people to talk to this stuff about. So, I mean, like, I had a fantastic time doing this.
Great.
Gauri, that was a great conversation. I'm really sad that the show is over for the time being. We're going to figure out something how we can keep it going because it's been a ton of fun to do this.
It has. It's been one hell of a ride. And, I just want to say thank you to everybody for listening in. And I really hope to meet everyone in person one day at Misty. But of course, in the meantime, if people have questions or sort of, want to follow up on anything that they've heard about over the last 10 episodes, please feel free to message me on through Instagram at gdevidyal or on Twitter at Gory Details, and stay in touch.
Yeah, and for the rest of you, please do that. But also, if you want to follow IVM is IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And this has been a ton of fun, and I look forward to what's next.
Shunyawan, 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 Shunyawan.
$1 billion acquisition. Another copycat startup got formed.
No, the tech world in India is surely moving double the speed of this voiceover.
Tune in to Shunya One every Tuesday to catch us talking to the smartest people we know on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
अगर आपकी जिंदगी में कोई ऐसी आपको दुविधा हो जिसका सवाल कोई दे नहीं पा रहा, तो हमने बनाया है आपके लिए एक खास शो जिसका नाम है सुन लो जी सुरलॉजी, जिस पर मैं पवन कुमार आपका सूत्रधार आपका स्वागत करता हूँ ताकि आप पूछ सके सवाल सोनू से.
Yes, I am Sonu. Hello, pleased to make your meeting. I am a super reality celebrity और दुनिया के कोई भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है जो सेलिब्रिटी सॉल्व नहीं कर सकते, तो मैं आपके सारे प्रॉब्लम्स का हलाइजेशन एंड सॉल्वाइजेशन कर दूंगा.
तो जी हाँ, सोचिए मत, जरूर सुनिए सुन लो जी सोलॉजी हर बुधवार, दैट इज वेडनेसडे.
प्लीज लाइक आइज, शेयर आइज, कमेंट आइज. अगर आपके पास कोई भी प्रॉब्लम्स है सोनू को बताइए, सोनू सारे प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर सकता है. इसी तरह तो मैं सुपर सेलिब्रिटी बना हूँ.